Hello, BCSD third graders. Mrs. Whitman back at it again with another math task explanation for you. Today we're going to do day 7, so get ready. Here we go. Marin forgot some of her 12's facts. She wants to find 6 times 12, but all she can remember is 5 times 12 equals 60. How could she use the fact 5 times 12 equals 60 to find 6 times 12? Explain. Okay, the fact that we're given a math fact to work with makes this really a lot easier for us. What I want to remind you of is that multiplication is really just repeated addition, right? So we know that this fact right here, 5 times 12 equals 60, really is just this. 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12. I think that's 5 12s. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Yep. So 5 times 12 equals 60 is really just 5 12s written out like this. And when you add them all together, you get 60. Okay? So if Marin wanted to use this information to find 6 times 12, she could easily find 6 times 12 just by adding another 12 in there. Okay? So now, if I'm going to add the 6th 12, all I have to do is 60 plus 12. I've got 2 in the ones place and a 7 in the tens place. And that is my answer. Okay, now it says, how could she use the fact 5 times 12 equals 60 to find 6 times 12? Explain. So this is really my proof right here. All I've done is proven the math. I need to explain now in words. And I always like to try to talk it out first before I just start writing. So I think I'm going to say something like, I know that 5 times 12 is the same as 12 added 5 times, or 12 plus 12 plus 12, and so on. When I add 5 12s, I get 60. When I add one more 12, that is the same as 6 times 12, and my final answer is 72. Okay, I just explain in words what I just did on the page. So I'm going to write that out now. I know that 5 times 12 equals 60 is the same as 12 plus 12 is 12 plus 12 is 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Okay. If I add one more 12, I get the answer for 6 times 12 equals 72. There we go. And I have explained my answer in words and as well as proven it. Now, you might ask me, well, Mrs. Whitman, I know that there's 2 ways to write this math fact. You might point out that 5 times 12 equals 60 could also be written out this way. Let me see if I can just erase a little bit to make some more room. Whoops. Okay, so you might point out that 5 times 12 could also be written like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, to go down here, 11, 12. And to that, I would say you're right. We could write 5 times 12 equals 60 out using 12 fives. But in this case, it's not going to help us find the math fact 6 times 12, because what do 5 times 12 and 6 times 12 have in common? It's the 12 that is in common, not the 5 and the 6. So it wouldn't be beneficial for us to write it out that way in this case. So if you were thinking, oh, well, I can count by fives and I can do that math fact a lot more easily in my head if I just do it that way. Well, yeah, you're right. But in this case, it's not going to help us because the 12 is what's in common. Okay, moving on. One thing I wanted to point out on the math pages, I'm going to skip over to this one first. Okay, we've talked a lot about decomposing recently in my math videos. And here's another visualization of what it means to decompose. You have an array, and ordinarily you would have one big array, and that represents the multiplication fact that you're trying to do. But with decomposing, you break that array into two smaller arrays to help you find your product or your answer more easily. Now, if you look at the next page, where it says number 6, draw a line to match each fact to its decomposed parts, then find each product. Okay, the problem is they don't give you a visual this time. And yes, you could go through and you could draw an array for every single one of these, numbers 6 through 10. If that really helps you, I encourage you to do that because there's always more than one strategy to approach any kind of math problem. However, if you are like me and thinking, you know what, I wish that there was another way to do this where I didn't have to draw an array in order to decompose this math fact, well, there is. And what we can do is, for example, in number 6, I just have to look and see how I can break apart the number. And I'm going to look at my answer choices. Now, right here, since I'm doing some matching, I'm going to look at the first one. Do I see a 5, a 10, a 5, or a 2 in this math fact? No, I don't. So that's probably not going to be my answer because there's no common numbers, okay? But right here it says 3 times 10 plus 3 times 1, okay? I do see a 3, but that's not really enough to prove my answer. It does have something in common though, so I think what I'll do is I'll use the numbers in that answer choice to try and see if it matches, see if it works. So what they've done is 3 times 10 plus 3 times 1. The way that this applies to decomposing is we can take one of the numbers in the math fact, like 11, and what we do is we break it apart with addition. So in this case, we could do, 10 plus 1. 10 plus 1 does equal 11. And what they're doing is, what we're going to do is multiply both pieces of that addition sentence by 3. When I do 10 times 3, I get 30. When I do 1 times 3, I get 3. And now I'm just going to add them both together, and I get 33. All right. Then if I know my 11s, then I know this really should end up being 33. So that makes sense. So this is another way that you could then look at decomposing. I'll go through the steps one more time. Let's do it with, there's another one with an 11. Let's try that with number 9. Okay, so we broke apart the 11 before with 10 plus 1. So let's try that again. Doesn't have to be. As long as it adds up to 11, we can use any two numbers we want. I know that equals 11 and it's times 9. So I'm going to multiply both numbers times 9. 10 times 9 is 90. 1 times 9 is 9. Now I'm going to add them together to see if I get the correct answer. Okay, and I know 11 times 9 is 99. So that works. Do any of my answer choices look like that? 10 times 9 plus 1 times 9. Yep, it's right there. So let me use a different color. This one matches this one. And then for number 9, that matches that one. Okay, so I'm going to let you do the rest. That's just another way that you can use decomposing without having to draw an array. You just break apart one of the numbers using addition, and then you have to multiply it by the same number once you break it apart with addition. Okay, that's all for today. I'll be back with day 8 tomorrow.